goodness. Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming. This is so exciting. So normally I would talk for about 20 minutes, but I'll just tell you a quick little thing about me. I grew up in Southern California. I became a lawyer, as some of you might know. I call those the lost years. I always like to start out with people booing me, so I tell people what I actually did as a lawyer. Do you want to know what I did as a lawyer?
Yes.
I defended big insurance companies.
Ooh,
I know.
I know, there we go. It would have been a bigger boo if you could have heard me. I live in Northern California now with my wife and 2 kids, and I am on a big tour through Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan for part of a travel book that I'm writing. Not really an informative book, but one to make you laugh, hopefully. So I'm submitting that to my agent, and then what else can I tell you about me? Oh, I went to Benjamin Harrison's grave. That was a priority. And I went to his house today. That was pretty cool. And as some of you might have saw, I went to John Dillinger's grave.
Yep.
That was very cool, and I really did smoke that cigarette. So anyways, why don't I just do this? Since we have so many people, I'll just open it up to questions, and you guys ask me things, and I will do my best to answer them. Who wants to go first? Don't be shy. Did I see a hand over there? Come on.
How did you manage?
You right there.
Have you been in touch with Bill Watterson lately?
Have I been in touch with Bill Watterson lately? Do you guys want to hear that story?
Yes.
That is a crazy one. I was on a book tour. I was going through Cleveland, Ohio, and I knew a guy who knew Bill Watterson. Now, for those of you who don't know, Bill Watterson is my industry's Greta Garbo, J.D. Salinger. Almost nobody has met him. So I was passing through Cleveland, and I asked a mutual friend, is there any way on the book tour Bill will have coffee with me? So he asked Bill, and Bill said no. I always want to end the story on that note. But, so anyways, I finished the tour, I got back home, and that mutual friend wrote to me. He emailed and he said, did you write to Bill? And I said, I figured he didn't want anything to do with me. He goes, no, just email him and say hi. So I emailed him, I complimented Calvin and Hobbes, I said everything you guys would want to say to him. But then I made a horrible mistake, and I included one of my comic strips. The comic strip I included, I don't know if you guys remember, but for a while my wife had kicked me out of the house.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was living on the porch. So I'm out trying to meet women at bars, and I'm at a bar, and a woman asked me what I do for a living, and I say I do a syndicated comic strip. And she says, what's the strip? And I think about it for a second, and I say, ever heard of Calvin and Hobbes? And the two of us end up together. So that's the strip I decided to send to Bill Watterson. So as soon as I sent it, I was like, oh my goodness, what if he doesn't have a sense of humor about this sort of thing? But sure enough, he wrote back, and the first thing he said was, oh yeah, that used to happen to me all the time. So he had a great sense of humor, but here's the crazy part. He then said, what would you think if I came out of retirement and drew your strip for a week? Which is what he ended up doing. So Bill Watterson drew my strip for a week, and on the week that those strips appeared, I was with Bill in Washington, D.C., and I got to spend 2 days with him and ask him everything you'd ever want to ask him, and he was super nice, and it was incredible. So yes. All right, what else? Thank you, thank you. Yes?
I'd like to thank you for elevating the art of the pun.
Oh, thank you.
And, where do you get your ideas for them?
Where do I get the idea? By the way, not everyone agrees with you. I'm guessing half this room hates the puns, which I realize. Okay. All I do is, the hard part is coming up with a quote that I think everyone will know. You'd be surprised. I did the lyrics to Born to Run once. Wendy, let me in, I want to be your friend, I want to guard. Nobody apparently knows Bruce Springsteen. So I lost half my audience that day. So I have found if I use Beatles lyrics, Elvis lyrics, I can more or less do it. But thank you. The hard part is, once I find the quote, or the easy part is, I just work backwards to things that sound like it. But the quote is the hardest part. Yes?
Do you have a favorite of all the pun strips?
Do I have a favorite of all the puns? That one with the Queen lyrics, "We are the jam peons." Yeah, that seemed to be pretty popular too. Yes. What else can I answer? Don't be shy. Yes.
Why do you downplay yourself so much?
Why do I do what?
Downplay yourself.
Downplay myself. Oh, that's the funny part. Yeah, you gotta be able to laugh at yourself. The reason I include myself in the last panel of all those strips is if I end on the joke or the pun, it just won't be that funny. It's sort of like 1950s humor, like there used to be, "Take my wife, please," and then you're supposed to laugh. It just strikes people as old and dumb. If I put myself at the end and I call the strip dumb effectively, then I'm in on it with you. And then you let me get away with murder. Yes, yes.
Are you more like goat, pig,
Rat.
rat, or
I get that every time, and I always try to get before you. Yes, rat. I am definitely rat. Aren't we all rat just a little bit? And the good news is, as I get older, I think I'm becoming more like pig, or at least I'm trying to be, but definitely rat. You know what's funny about that? Somebody pointed out one of the times I was giving the speeches, that's the oddest answer because you're actually a character in the strip. So, can't explain it. Yes?
Do you still get angry letters from cyclists?
Yes. Yes. The people with the worst sense of humor were Turks. I did it. The biggest thing I've ever been involved with, cyclists are second only to the Turks. I had a little character that I named Ataturk. It was a diplomat, he was a llama, and when he got angry, he spit on people. I liked the sound of the name. Holy smokes. That guy turns out to be the most revered figure in Turkey. To make fun of him when you're in Turkey means a prison sentence of 13 years. That was 1,000 emails every night. Stacy and the kids left the house, leaving me in the house. Death threats galore, the ambassador got involved. Yeah, but cyclists are second to that. So they don't have much of a sense of humor about that. They always say, why don't you make fun of drivers? And I go, they're not as funny as you are. The real reason I do it is I used to write in a cafe all the time, and this group of cyclists used to come in, and they have, you know, those tight outfits, and they clickety-clack on their little spikes and their sunglasses, and it just bothered me. So, yes, what else can I answer? Yes?
So the Tao Poo, are you familiar with that book?
The Tao Poo, yes.
Yeah, so was that kind of an influence on some of your characters, on adding...
Maybe so, yeah. You know what? When they asked me, the animated pearls, you could see them online. And when they asked me for Pig's voice, I said, in my mind, he sounds like Roo from Winnie the Pooh. So I guess I'd have to say yes. Yes, yes.
What is your favorite strip series you've ever done?
My favorite strip series, I call it the week that almost ended my career. It was when the whole country was looking for Osama bin Laden, and I decided to put him in the comic strip Family Circus. Because I thought that family was so out of touch they'd have no idea who he was. So anyways, that got a lot of pushback. The funny part was the family that does that strip, the Family Circus, they had a great sense of humor. And Bill Keane, the creator of Family Circus, actually asked for the original with Osama in it. So yeah, that first one, the one he wanted was, it was Osama with the mother from Family Circus and two of the kids around the breakfast table, and the mom was saying to Osama, "I'm sorry, Osama, but at oh yeah, at the end of Grace, we say amen, not death to America." So, funny story. So they have a great sense of humor. The strip is now done by Jeff Keane, his son. Yeah. Jeff and I have gone on USO missions to Iraq during the war, Afghanistan during the war, so we're good friends. But I gave this speech in San Diego at Comic-Con, and Jeff was going to be there. So I said, Jeff, someone's going to ask me what you guys think when I make fun of you. If that happens, can I introduce you and tell everyone we're friends? And Jeff said, yeah, sure. So sure enough, like I had planned it, the very first question was, what do the Family Circus guys think when you make fun of their strip? And I told them what I told you, we're good friends, they have a great sense of humor. As a matter of fact, the creator, Jeff Keane, is in the audience today, and I said, Jeff, can you please stand? So in the far back of this 500-seat auditorium, I see Jeff stand, and the only thing I can hear is, screw you, Pastis! All right, how about one more, and then we'll start the signing. Yes, right here.
Was there an animal you wanted to include in the strip but never did for any reason?
Oh, animal I want to include it. You know what my limitation is? Drawing. So if it's a tough animal to draw, I avoid them. Most I've been pretty good with. You know what kills me? Bicycles. I cannot draw bicycles to save my life. Sometimes if I get a drawing right, I will then cut and paste it into the other three panels. I'm not above that. Okay, how about one more? Yes.
Down here. You go.
What's that?
Down here.
Down here, yes.
What is your favorite strip that you've ever made?
Favorite strip I've ever made. I think the one I will be known for is Rat and Pig sitting on a curb. Rat says, if you could have a conversation with anyone, living or dead, who would it be? And Pig says, the living one. All right, one more. Very last question. Who wants to go last? Yes, way back there.
What's your favorite strip that's currently running?
Favorite strip that's currently running? Oh, that's a really good question. Let me give you the ones that influenced me, and I'll end with this story. So Peanuts is the reason I'm a comic strip guy, for sure. That is 80% of my influence. When I was in high school, it was the big three, Calvin and Hobbes, Far Side, and Bloom County. And then Scott Adams, who did Dilbert, taught me everything I know about writing a 3-panel strip, which is all Pearls was in the beginning. But I will close with this. So when I was a lawyer for 10 years, totally burned out, I read in an article that my hero, Charles Schulz, every single day had an English muffin at the same cafe in Santa Rosa, California. I was an hour away. So I took that whole day off of work. I had never done this before. And I drove up there and I went to this little cafe where he was supposed to be, and I sat for an hour and I waited and nothing happened because I figured article was wrong, he's on vacation, it could be anything. So I just sat there at the cafe and I get up to go, and just as I get up to go, from the far door of this long cafe, I see Charles Schulz walk in. This guy with all this white hair. Everybody calls him Sparky. You'll hear me say Sparky. No one ever says Charles. His name is Sparky. So I see Sparky walk in. He sits down. He gets his English muffin. I'm on the other side of the cafe. I must look odd because I'm not eating. I'm just staring. Then I wait for him to be done. And I get up all the courage I can muster. Because I don't know who your hero in life is, but take 1 through 5, that's what Sparky was to me. So I wait for him to be done, get up all the courage, and I walk from my table over to his table, and I kneel at the side of his table. And in the worst opening line I ever could have used, I said, "Hi, Mr. Schulz. My name is Stephan Pastis, and I'm an attorney." Sparky went entirely white. Sparky thought he was getting served with a subpoena. So I said, no, I also draw. And he goes, "Do you have your stuff with you?" And I said, "Yeah, I actually do in the car." He goes, "Bring it in." So I walk out, I bring this cartoon I was working on at the time. He gave me all these tips. He spent an hour with me. The guy at one of the tables took a picture of the two of us, so I have it right where I draw. And little would Sparky know, but I ended up becoming the first person after his death to write an animated Peanuts special, which is full circle, so very cool. So thank you guys for coming. And we will start this time.